Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the 16th episode of the Daily Attorney Podcast, where we talk to women attorneys all over the U.S. who are amazing at what they do inside and outside of the legal profession. I am your host, Marie Nadine Jean Baptiste. Our guest today is the owner and CEO of Roach Law, LLC, Miss Marirose Roach. She fights for the rights of spouses and children by providing legal representation in divorce, custody, and support cases. She also provides volunteer services with Philadelphia VIP, a pro bono agency in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Aside from being a dual sport athlete, playing track and field and soccer, recently she has turned her attention to women's professional football, starring with the Philadelphia Liberty Bells and Philadelphia Passion. Philadelphia is quite a mouthful. Consistent with her willingness to give back to the community, Marirose is the founder of a nonprofit organization created to advance the sport of football amongst young women, and that is called FootballHers Inc. Thank you so much for being here with us today. I know we had a little bit of tech difficulties, and I am so sorry I butchered your name. It's actually Marirose, so I wanted to correct that just for the individuals listening.
People have done worse. It's fine.
So thank you again for being here today. My friend Tanae says hello. She's also an attorney in the state of Maryland. Nice. My friends are so supportive. They're always sitting in. My mom is probably watching, and many other people all over the internet. So I know we were talking backstage. I was telling you, usually I go through, different questions and stuff like that. And I think you had some pretty interesting stories. So I asked you if you were okay talking about them. One of them is, the pronunciation of your name. Because when I first saw it, I'm Haitian. Everyone knows that. And when I first saw it, I was like, oh, yeah, she's definitely Haitian. Like, in my mind, it's Marirose, So
just you saying that, I had a flashback. Yes. Well, first, we have a connection, although I am not of Haitian descent. I practice in a very large Haitian community, and we actually have an interpreter that rents space at my office. So there's always a good traffic of Haitian folks that are in need of legal counsel or just help in the community. So I'd like to say we're a hub, but it was interesting because the last time I heard my name, the first time I heard my name like that. So I grew up in an apartment community, and I'm adopted by an Italian mom. So needless to say, she did her best with my hair, but she did her best. I'll say that. And I was playing outside one day with a group of kids, and a woman came up to me and she said, just kind of grabbed me aside. Stranger, right? Comes up, who does your hair? I was like, my mom does my hair. She's like, bring me to her. So she walks me up, and the kids, I know her because I played with their kids, but she comes up to my mom. She's like, you tell your mom, Marirose, I will do your hair from here on out. So, thank you. I thank her because she definitely taught my mom some things. She was doing the best she could, but I think she helped her out a little bit with some products and styles. But when you said my name that way, it just made me think back to the first time I had heard my name said.
Wow,
in that accent.
That took all the way back. It's so funny though, because nobody ever knows how to pronounce my name. I've gotten some really innovative ways to pronounce Maria Ivis, Jenna Baptiste. I'm like, no.
Before you say anything, the gentleman that works in my office, his name is Parthen Eve, Auntie. So when anybody comes to the office, they always ask for Eve. Mm-hmm. I know him as Parthen, but I recognize Eve because that's how he spelled his name. Yeah.
And it is confusing, and it's funny because there's a handful of people that call me Marie Eve, and that's in the professional world. And then everybody else calls me Nadine, which is my middle name.
Okay.
I know. Thanks, Mom. Funny story. So I'm not going to take up your time because today is about you. But when I was in high school, I was about to graduate. Everyone knew me as Nadine Jean Baptiste. So one day my mom like springs it on me like, oh, by the way, Nadine is your middle name. And I'm going to go to the school. I'm going to change it because I want your diplomas to say Marie Eve. And I'm like, okay. So show up to school on Monday and my teachers are like, Marie Eve? And everyone's like, who is this person? I'm like, that's me. And it's just so funny because everyone knows me as Nadine. But then you have people calling me Marie Eve. So when they call my office and they're asking for Nadine, nobody knows who they're asking for. So every single time, I literally have to retell the story as to why, someone is calling me Nadine versus Marie Eve. So sometimes people.
Yeah, you probably know where they're coming from depending on who they call you,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's someone I know from back in the day.
Exactly. So names are a little funny, and mine, as you can clearly see, doesn't fit on anything. So at least you have a shorter name. I have to abbreviate stuff. But I'm glad you talked about the Haitian community, because I know that your firm was in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, but backstage we were talking about some changes that you recently had to make. Like, how did you navigate paring down, going from, practicing in 2 separate states to just practicing in one? And right now you're in Pennsylvania. So how has that shift taken place for you?
So we are fortunate because of where we're situated in Philadelphia. We are very much part of a community. So the majority of our cases come from right around the corner. I think that the New Jersey practice was generated mostly by my partners who no longer practice law, but they had their own book of business and were doing their own thing as far as their area of practice in their geographical area. So the paring down part of it wasn't too hard. We're still super busy, and our clients are all from Pennsylvania, like the outer Philadelphia metropolitan and outer counties.
Okay. Were you nervous ultimately of going from, a multi-partner law firm to kind of doing your own thing? Because right now you're solo.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Financially, it was a little intimidating just because I know what the other partners brought to the table. And then, there are always peaks and valleys. If you're doing really well, you can carry one person or they can carry you if you're not doing great. So yeah, financially it did, it was daunting to kind of put my head around that, being one person, but it's worked out. And I guess with that comes less stress, right? Because your exposure is less, and the amount of people that you have to manage is less. So it worked out. The good and the bad, I think it worked out for me.
I don't know about that less stress part, because I'm solo too. I'm still waiting for that stress part.
Well, you think about the stress that you carry as an individual, and then you put that out there with more attorneys, it can be more stressful.
That's true. It can magnify in that. Yeah, I see where you're coming from with that. As far as your practice areas, are you just doing the family law, or have you branched out? Because I know that, you guys did business litigation and some state work and all that. Did you kind of truncate?
Yeah. So we had to be creative, just because when you work with, 3 other attorneys and more staff, and you don't want to have a large book of business, that's hard to manage. So what I did was I brought in of counsel. And these are attorneys who have a lot of practice, a lot of experience behind them, and are specialized in certain areas. And now I have a bigger network, a more experienced network, but these are people that are, I say they're niche attorneys that are able to provide co-counsel when necessary. So right now my areas of practice are family law, where I've been practicing for 15 years. Wow, that's crazy. 15 years of family law, estate planning, and personal injury. We have an LLM attorney, a tax attorney that does estate practice for the large estates that we get in. And we also have an immigration attorney with over 35 years of experience who works with the firm. Yeah, he's amazing. He's actually a staple in the community, in the Philadelphia community. He's been practicing here for several years. And because we have a huge Haitian population here in Philadelphia, especially in the neighborhood that I work out of, we find that we're always generating business. We're always generating, cases out of just the people that we serve here by word of mouth, referral, whatever.
Right. Yeah. Tanae, thank you. Because I was thinking that. I'm like, in my mind, you're 12, right? I'm just being honest. When you said 15 years, I was like, how does she not have gray hair? Because I have like 7 or 10 in like one area. I count them every month because I'm like, where are these things coming from? How do you, and I think that's a great segue to, how do you navigate, the areas of practice and kind of maintain your personal routine, right? To keep you young and sane and healthy and happy. Like, how do you balance all that?
So I think probably a few months ago, I was doing a much better job, but I had a baby who's 18 months old now. So not just had a baby, but
Congratulations.
Yeah. So I think I did a much better job before because I'm still really involved with like sports. Like I was playing tackle football up until a couple of years ago before I got pregnant. I still play flag football and softball, and I still work out. I train kids, speed and agility. I actually coach a flag football team. So it's just having outlets so that you can have that release. I also try to watch a sitcom every now and then to kind of have that escapism. I'm really into Abbott Elementary right now. My mom put me onto that show.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just like something that can make you laugh and take your mind off it. So that's the balance because you have to grind. It's always there. You always got to get on your grind. So just having that escape.
Tanae says, so now I need to play a sport.
Oh yeah. It doesn't have to be a sport, but something where you can get outside and just do something for that release and just get away from it for sure.
Yeah, it really, really is tough. For me, my thing is crafting, making soaps,
cool.
Sending out. Yeah, I love making them. The types of recipes and the designs are endless, and I can never replicate, a specific design. So that's always really awesome. But also doing a lot of personal development work, right? A lot of books, a lot of reading, a lot of podcasts from individuals like, Tom Bilyeu, Les Brown, things like that. I really, really like to do that. I feel like it, it keeps your mind in the zone. So with an 18-month-old baby in the mix, how do you, and Tanae asked this, so how do you maintain self-care though? Like, what is your go-to process to make sure, because at 18 months, thankfully, the baby is sleeping all night right now, right?
Most of the time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, how do you counterbalance that though, so you don't lose your mind? Because it can happen.
I mean, I am so blessed because it's my first child. I do have 2 stepdaughters, and my wife and I raised my 2 nephews. So we have 4 teens. We have
so technically you don't have one kid.
No. In our house, we have 2 15-year-olds and 2 16-year-olds. One child shares time with the dad, but it's a lot. But I think that being involved in what they do, I'm not gonna say that I'm successful at this because I feel like I'm not right now. I do definitely need more time to just do self-care, but at this point I think I'm okay. I just it's a grind. Like I said, every day you got to wake up and just figure out how to make it happen. Now if there were another 24 hours in the day, I could give you a schedule, but the day runs out. So
it really, really does. But the crazy thing about it is, please explain to me how you and your wife get the 15-year-old and the 16-year-old to interact with you. Because I have a 14-year-old and I am a walking stranger in my house.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you this.
I exist.
When I had the baby, because I had raised my other nephew too, all teens, right? I've only had teens. When I had the baby, it was the first time I had a child actually want to be around. You know just because babies are so into you. I'm so used to having teens being like, get out of here. But what I do is, like with the kids, I got my stepdaughter into flag football, girls flag football. She's going to be 17 in August. Okay. So I coach her flag football team. I find ways to connect with them through activities. My nephew is in the junior ROTC, so I got him into a pellet shooting. It's a pellet shooting like competition where we go on Sundays and we shoot pellet guns, and it's like a target thing. So, I mean, just trying to find ways to connect with them in their world. I feel like that's the in. And I try to be a little dorky and corny so they can make fun of me. I don't mind being the butt of the joke, so they can.
And they will do that.
Oh yeah. I'm really good at being corny. So
yeah. I know. Yesterday I was trying to get MJ to do air guitar with me in the car because I like rock.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, and I was blasting like 2000s rock, like Queens of the Stone Age. Yeah, who was think? Yeah, and he's you are so embarrassing. I was like, come on, air guitar with me. He's like, no, he refuses to do it. It's so funny. Tanae says her 15-year-old, his name is Devron. He's always joking. He's a good kid too. Yeah, she is a 15-year-old. I have a 14-year-old boy. Corey is funny too. She has a 7-year-old. Her name is Corey. That's my soap girl. She never allows a phone call between me and today to go without her interrupting. So you will get that experience too. You know, they want your attention. They want to be on you. So that's cool. Because I think, especially being a family attorney, right? Because a lot of, all of the things you do impact families. So I like to kind of put it together and say, you know, you're a family attorney because ultimately all of these areas, you know, will affect a family at some point in time. So being a family, how much of kind of your own experience and thoughts and fails and achievements do you kind of bring into your practice? So that way people can see she's a real person, right? She's not a stoic human who is looking at me as just a client number.
Yeah, so you know, beyond having pictures around the office and stuff like that, I do like to tell my clients because I think that they want to feel like there's empathy there, that they're not someone that's going through this novel experience and, you know, this painstaking, like, you know, torturous legal issue, because a lot of times it is pretty bad with family law and the emotions are high and logic and reasoning are low. So I'll say, listen, I all the time, I have 4 teenagers. You know what I mean? Like, I understand that, you know, the struggles that you have with your significant other, connecting and being involved in your child's life, in the pain of having a child not in your home, right? And that's another thing that I get it. Like, I think to myself, man, could I go a week, 3 days without seeing my daughter? So
no, I'm pretty sure you cannot. You know,
yeah, right.
Yeah, it's definitely tough.
Yeah.
As far as, we'll segue a little bit, because I know you mentioned flag football with your daughter. As far as providing volunteer services, not volunteer services, as far as being a dual sport athlete, what made you decide to kind of transition into law versus maybe deciding to, you know, do something else in the sports arena? Or even if you transition into law, you know, why didn't you do some kind of, you know, why didn't you practice? Why did you decide not to do sports law? I can't find my words.
Yeah. I'm picking up what you're laying down there. So, yes, I definitely did. That was the intention. Like, I thought about getting my my agent license, and, you know, they take those. I think you can do those tests twice a year. They cost several $1,000s, and so I did. And I actually worked for sports and entertainment lawyers when I was in law school, and I realized that it's a tough area to break into, and that I also had an experience being a scouting intern for the New York Jets. So I had a taste of that world, and I was able to see how things work, but I didn't feel like the impact that I could make on people who need help, that are having a hard time helping themselves, and the people that need the most help, I couldn't really say that was where it was. You know, can I help someone get a contract for, you know, an endorsement deal or a signing deal with a team? Sure, I could, but do I think I can make you know, do more for my community in the practices that I'm in now? Yeah, I do. So sometimes I think, and I'm like, man, maybe I probably would have had a different lifestyle, different life, but I like what I do. I like helping people.
I think it sounds like community is important to you.
Definitely.
Yeah. Because you've definitely mentioned it, quite a few times. And I love that because it clearly shows, in what you do and how you do it. Speaking of community, I know that you partner with Philadelphia VIP to do pro bono work. What kind of pro bono work do you do with them? Is it within the realm of your current practice areas, or do you go outside of that?
Well, so I don't have to. Philadelphia VIP, what they do is if you qualify, if you're a Philadelphia resident and you qualify, and they have them in the outer counties too. I don't know if you're familiar, but like Montgomery County, Bucks, Delaware County, all around Philadelphia. If you qualify as someone who is financially in need of, but cannot afford legal assistance, they have so many cases. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Sorry. What they do is they can pair you with, there's lists. Every day there are lists of people that are in need of free legal counsel, and you just pick the cases that you can handle. So I never go outside my legal expertise because I don't have to. There are so many cases that you can take. So.
Yeah, especially in the realms of family law. There's a high percentage of family law litigants that are not represented. And, a lot of these clients try to navigate the system as best as they can. I actually used to practice family law.
I tried to send you a case.
Oh, no, keep it. I made the decision to just, I could not, I found myself, trying to help the person get past their emotional issue, because I know that a lot of the time, not financial, but the family law issue is really stemming from someone who's going through a heartbreak, or they don't know how to deal with something, right? So they're kind of banging down the court's door, and they want to ultimately cause issues for the other side. And I just don't practice like that. I'm all about peace, prosperity. I love everybody. You're going to love me, and I'm going to love you whether you like it or not. I'm very inclusive, and a lot of my clients don't want to hear that. They're like, but he cheated on me. I'm like, I understand, but he has to live with his conscience. That guilt and that shame will be with him for as long as he continues to torture himself. I think that that's enough. Let's focus on the real issues, right? The real issues is getting that, retirement distribution, getting, whatever property you need to get out of the house so you can move on with your life. And, let me set you up with, therapists, and let's talk about you eating better. And some clients are very responsive, and I get clients that are like, the painting behind me is actually one that was given to me by a client. She's like, oh my gosh, Marie, you are so right. You're right. And I told her, I was like, you have to take care of yourself when you're going through a family law case. You can't just, kind of go on the deep end. So I found that I was looking more to mentor and counsel and work, and that's not what my license says, right? So I was like, okay, clearly I can't do this in a manner that is impartial. So I don't think I'm serving my clients best in this capacity. So we just focus on estates and trusts and taxation.
Okay.
I love those areas. I think, probate cases bring enough craziness to our doorstep that, we're okay.
Talk about family disputes. Ooh.
Yes. But in this case, the child is money. I can deal with that, because for me, when a kid is in the middle, it's like, oh no. And I find myself saying in my mind, just give me the kid. Just give me the kid. I'll take the kid, right? And I can't do that. I can't take your child, and I can't ask for your child, right? So
that would be weird.
It was a little bit. So I was like, I'm not going to do that. But what made you decide to kind of like step into the pro football arena? I'm not gonna lie, when I saw that, I was like, whoa. It's amazing, but it's intimidating at the same time, right? I can't run. I'm like, no, and I can't throw, and I can't catch. So please talk to me about how you can clearly do all of it and play on on an amazing team and work and do all this stuff that you do while being an attorney.
Well, I'll tell you this, I was taught this, and I tell the kids this: can't is not in your vocabulary. Anybody can do it.
Okay, you got me. You got
Yes.
me.
But I had a head start. So I told you I had an unconventional mom, and I had an older brother who played football. So when I turned 8, I started playing Pop Warner football with the boys. I was the only girl, and I played until I was 14. When I got to high school, I stopped because I said the positions I play, running back and linebacker, are not positions I believed at the time you would get a scholarship for. So I was really looking for a scholarship to help me pay for college in athletics. So that's when I switched to soccer and track. But when I graduated from college, I played some flag, and someone came up to me and they're like, "Do you want to play tackle football?" And I was like, "Yes, I do." I just had that experience as a kid, so it wasn't intimidating to me. And I had played with boys, now I'm playing with girls, so it wasn't like I was, oh, can I handle it? Not at all. So it was kind of like very natural for me to do it as an adult, because I was just someone that was always my favorite sport. I had wanted to continue playing that sport, but I'm 5'3", so.
Oh,
okay. I don't know how far I could have got in college or the NFL at my height and my size. Not that far.
I definitely get that, but it's still intimidating nonetheless, because it's a very coordinated sport, right? I am not a sports person. I just can't. I suck at the references and all that. When I make a reference, I'm like, was that a thing? And my friend is like, yeah. I'm like, yes. I'm that cornball.
Yeah. I don't know though, because you talk about all these things, right, with football, like the terminology and the coordination. But I think most football players would agree with me when it's more about heart and that determination and competitiveness. Because when you're on the field, it's you against someone else, and whoever has more heart. Sometimes you're not the best athlete, you might not be the fastest athlete, but it's kind of like in the courtroom or when you have a case, it's like you got to find a way to be successful. And
you really, really do. And I didn't. Thank you for making that connection, because I'm sitting here thinking, oh, yeah, that actually does make sense. And when you said it, I was like, I like being an attorney. One of the things that they do is in law school is kind of make things a little adversarial. I am not adversarial at all. But I know that your firm is all about, stepping up to the bat and doing that. And I agree with that in certain circumstances. So I love the disclaimer that you put. It's not a disclaimer, but I love the statement that you made on your website that you approach things in hey, let's hold hands and talk about this manner first, right? And if we can't, some cases you can't. And that's when we go in and we're like, listen, we're going to file this, we're going to do that, and we're going to do this. And we approach it in a very logistical, adversarial manner. So we implore the same situation here, but preferably, let's talk it out, because it's not worth the stress, the headache, and stuff like that. And it seems like that is what your firm is all about. You talk about the perils of litigation and how it can be stressful. I think it's a very, very tough time in anybody's life, especially the person going through it. So, and clearly they trust you, to do it. My next question, I guess, has to deal with FootballHers Inc. What made you decide to start a nonprofit organization?
It happened when the Liberty Bells was a women's tackle football team who we had a fundraiser to help with the team, and the team disbanded. So I needed somewhere to put that money into a community, outreach, forum. And I was fortunate because I had worked with this organization called the Black Women in Sport Foundation. It's founded by Tina Sloan Green. She was one of the first Black women in the an Olympic field hockey team. She coached at Temple University. But anyways, she started this organization, and she had camps and programs all throughout the city for kids to learn sports like fencing, tennis, like the sports that you don't see a lot of Black folks playing, lacrosse, golf. So, I was teaching kids that, and I'm like, I'm a football player. And there are so many options and avenues for girls to break into the sport now, especially because I'm playing as an adult. I'm like, we need to get out here and start giving girls the opportunity to play. I don't know if you know now, but girls flag football, they can get full scholarships to college now.
Wow.
Flag football.
And that wasn't an option
No, not when I was in college, but now it is. So my stepdaughter is currently trying to get a scholarship to play in college.
That's amazing. That is
Right.
amazing. There's so many different sports out there that, don't get the recognition, whether, it depends on who's playing, what type of sport it is. So that is really, really good news. Outside of these endeavors, so Tanae wants to know, what advice would you give someone that is interested in trying out for football that is not super fit? Like, how do they get started? Oh, that's Tanisha. I don't know why I said Tanae. Hey, T. That's my friend.
I see. First things first is you need to get involved with a team. And in Maryland, I played in Maryland. I played in Baltimore. I played in DC. And there are so many teams down there to play on. So, you definitely have, if you're close to either of those cities, there's definitely teams for you. But first, I would get involved with the team and go out and watch it because, I think you should see what you're getting involved with first.
That is definitely true. So T is actually, she really loves football.
Cool.
Yeah, she really loves football. She's a little taller than you. I think she's about 5'7". Yeah, total football person. I'm the complete opposite. I don't think Tanae likes football as much. She stopped saying stuff, but I'm sure I'm getting a lot of text messages now. I'm like, I'm not going to answer this, guys. I'm clearly doing this, but chances are they're sending me their questions to ask you. That's what usually happens, but I don't want to be rude, to my guests picking up a phone. So I always tell people, just go ahead and post your questions here and I can ask. But thank you so much for, talking to us about football and just all this amazing stuff that you're doing. It's funny, I always learn something new, and you are the first person that we have had on. Camille is shaking her head like we really do. We learn so many awesome things. Tanae says she watches it with her dad, but she doesn't play sports.
Cool.
So, so clearly we got some football fans here, and
it's America. We love football. Yeah,
it's just every guest that we have, I'm telling you, it brings a different audience, a different interest. And this is why I love highlighting different attorneys from all over the US, because I feel like so many of us, that are not coming from traditional homes or traditional backgrounds and stuff like that, we just have so much value to add. Right. And we're out here killing the legal game. And we're not doing it because of money. We're doing it because of community, so that's big. That's huge. So with that said, thank you so much for being here today. If somebody wants to get in contact with you, how could they best reach you? Is it via your website or the phone?
Yeah, I'd say if anybody wants to set up a call or, just set up an appointment to talk about a legal issue, you can call my assistant and she will get you on my calendar. And her direct dial is 267-343-5818. Her name is Sue, and she's great. She just, she'll chat you up and get you on my calendar and we can talk.
Hey, Sue. Are you on any kind of social media or anything where you want the people to follow you?
We are. So I actually, full disclosure, I had to hire somebody to stay on top of it because it is a lot. But we are, if you go to my website, Roach Justice is, I think, my name on Facebook, Roach Law on Twitter. We're also on Instagram. So we're everywhere. And
Same here. You can catch us. Please like and subscribe. You can catch us on Twitter, Facebook, all the social medias. I always have to look because I forget them. LinkedIn. Yeah, you're on LinkedIn too. Definitely check out our website, saintevelaw.com. We are in the process of kind of just removing some of the family law stuff. So our website is it's in and out of construction. It's definitely in and out of construction. But, again, I just want to thank you today. But before I let you go, I do want to ask you, what kind of impact would you like to have on your community?
I just want to be the person that people trust that they can come to get what they need to get accomplished. I don't want them to have a question as to whether or not, if they have a legal issue, that they can get the help they need. And I think that just that security just builds a community that gives them the confidence to not feel like they're being neglected or disenfranchised in any way. So
that is wonderful, Marirose. It has been a pleasure. Clearly, community is important to you. You are our first athlete, which is cool. Athlete attorney.
Oh, no way.
Yeah,
Cool.
You really are. You are our first athlete attorney. Congratulations on the baby boy. Hope you and the missus.
Baby girl.
Well.
Yep.
Thank you. And please try to get some sleep because you clearly don't sleep. I am convinced none of my guests sleep because the amount of stuff that we do, there's no way we can sleep 8 hours. But with that said, thank you again. Thank you everyone for joining me. We had a good group today. Thank you, Tanae and T, for all the questions. As usual, Camille, thank you. I don't ever thank you on air, but Camille is the face behind all of the stuff that we get to do here. And just thank you. She's celebrating her 1 year anniversary with our firm. So thank you, everyone. Have a great day. I'm your host, Marie E. Baby Jean Baptiste. Sorry for the late broadcast, but we had fun anyway. Bye.
Take care.